beauty of this album, Elemental, is the fact that I could choose, really choose, who I could work with. And instead of inheriting people who maybe weren't performing the right function at the right time. And Alan Griffiths, who co-wrote the album, and Tim Palmer, who co-produced it, were definitely the right people.
She's only on the television underneath the sun.
I write in the studio on synthesizers and guitars and drum machines and everything that I can lay my hands on. But once the initial inspiration has occurred, my brain kind of fills in the missing blanks. You know? It's the time when you get to feel what it's like to be a recognized musician. It's the only time when you're sort of lounging around at home, you're really, you know, you are really truly anonymous. You have no idea of what you're putting out to the world. When you go out on the road, you meet the real fans and you get to understand that you're actually getting across, that your message is getting across, and that there are people out there who really, really love it, you know. Well, Alan Griffiths is with me playing guitar and keyboards. The drummer, Brian McLeod, was recommended by Tim Palmer because Tim Palmer produced a record by the band Wire Train. And so Brian's from Wire Train, Jeffrey Trott, the guitarist, is also from Wire Train, and Jebin Bruni, the keyboard player, is a friend of theirs. So they all came together. And the other person is Gaylan Dorsey, who I knew, she was a friend of one of the backing singers from the last band. And I've heard of her records, and I knew she was a great bass player. I was very, very lucky to get her.
coast to coast. DJ's the man we love the most.
A song like Famous Last Words, which is from Seeds of Love, or Woman in Chains, is always great to sing, and never really tire of those. There's some, even the older songs, you know, from Big Chair, are harder to sing because I was younger. My voice was higher, you know, so they're not as easy.
Some kind of divine intervention through those to waste. So nice to eat, so nice to taste. Politician granny with your high ideals. Have you no idea how the majority feels? So about love and a promised land with boots to the rooms. How they'll gather the plan, kick out the stop, bring back the jail.
It works where it's placed in the set. You know, Shout has a certain dynamic, and it follows Woman in Chains, and it works really well. So that's a pleasure. And it's always a pleasure seeing the response from the audience.
Sowing the seeds, the birds and the bees, look out for me.
Because most of the songs are written through improvisation with Alan, the core of each song has a live element. You know, it's not as if they emerged. They were there in the first place, you know. I think it's taken a long time for me to come to terms with who I am, and I feel much more comfortable doing this job and being 32 than I did doing this job and being 21. That was very, very difficult for me, especially a lot of the subjects that I was singing about didn't quite sit with somebody so young. Now I've had a bit of experience, you know, I can kind of get away with it a lot more. And in the sense, I'm coming up with more answers. Whereas before, they were just kind of, it was just kind of like self-indulgence, or it was just asking questions. You know, there's much more of a philosophical perspective with what I'm doing nowadays, which I much prefer. If you're working with a genius like Jim Blashfield, who did Sow the Seeds of Love video, then at some point he just takes over completely, because he has understood everything, you know, that you've said to him, all the images he's agreed on, and then he just takes it and sort of augments what you've kind of come up with. Other people, you have to sort of sit on their shoulder through every stage. And even to the point where I've had to edit some of the videos myself, you know, to salvage them. Cold was a 7-day shoot. It was like making a film, and in very, very damp conditions. I mean, it was freezing in the building, and it was very damp. And all the little movements you have to do, which are very hard, you know. I've been lucky on this tour because I've managed to come up with about 4 or 5 songs for the next album, and this is really a first for me, because the band are really, they like to play and they like to improvise, and it's very easy. Well, I've got an amazing gargle. You know what gargle is? It kills dead anything that's sort of lurking around in there. And we do a lot of warm-ups before we go on stage. And I had opera training when I was a teenager. So I do all the opera. I practice on sort of Gilbert and Sullivan and Handel's Messiah and things like that, just to get the whole thing working. Sort of a mind for details, so therefore I know where everything comes from and I know where everything sits, so I can't help but sort of get in there and muck about with it, because I'm not sort of somebody who likes to leave things to chance, you know? I like to sort of have control, you know?
We will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world.
I don't think the British culture really supports the idea of a star. It's a very hierarchical system. It's based on class, and if you're born working class, you'll never be anything but. It doesn't matter what you do or achieve. In America, yes, you can go over there and be a rock star or be a pop star, because the culture supports it. That's what it's all about, and that's a lot of fun. And I'm glad that, in a sense, there is somewhere you can go to do that kind of thing. But I guess I'm also glad that we're not obsessed with it in England, because you know, in England it helps if you're nobody. It really is much more comfortable.
So sadly had to fit in.
what you do?
Yeah, that's all I do, I promise.
We're floating on a magic carpet high above the earth. Don't you know that love is war? Got confidence, we can take the chill. When you calculate, will you leave it in your will? Rise and get down. Capricorn is rising, yes, I'm listen to my old friend Knuckles. Feeling with warm the cockles. You can't fight the fear, you can't resist the road you're on. You don't belong to me, you don't belong to anyone. Your reputation lies not in your eyes, but those you live. Without the hand that feeds when it don't meet your needs, when you got blood to bleed, you got a life to lead. In the blood, with my blood, I can hold you. In the flood, and excommunicated 'cause I'm gone. My temperature's been rated and I'm cold. Bring to me my big old sweater, nothing more making me better. Cold, no heat on my horizon, guess I'm cold. There'll be no compromising. Stone cold, stone cold, stone cold, stone cold, stone
Yes, it's a story often told. Well, I was just on tour in 1985, promoting songs with the Big Chair in America, and we just played Kansas City. And I went back to the hotel and had to pay $1.50 to get into the bar because Alita Adams was singing, and she was playing a grand piano, and she had a bass player and a drummer in tuxedos. And it was just phenomenal. I mean, the performance, the quality of her singing, the quality of her piano playing, the atmosphere was so reverential. It was like a church, walking into a church. And lots of people were in tears, you know, we were in tears. And she was in tears, but she had hay fever. That was her excuse, you know. But I just thought it was crazy that this woman was playing a bar in a hotel, and we were at #1 in America. It just didn't make sense somehow. So I sort of set about trying to redress the balance, you know. You know, America is the alternative nation. That's what it is. That's what they set up. That was the whole idea behind it. And, you know, following on from that, they really have a different approach to things, and they have a different set of morals, you know. And the space that provides can be a very good thing. It's a very young culture, and because it's a young culture, it's very hungry. It's not like us. We kind of like, we've done all the invading, you know, we've had all the wars. You know, England's like an old man compared to America. and the vibe and the spirit. And so it's a great place to play music. But having said that, so is France. I mean, the audiences in France are incredible. You know, but America has got a real romantic side to it. It's a very religious place, you know, and it's a very out place. There's not, I mean, it doesn't, on the surface, appear to be a lot of repression, you know, which we get so much of in England.